Hi, my name is Shannon Knight, and today I'm going to share about what it means to be a healthy leader in ministry by giving examples that I have learned from my own mentors in ministry and from field experts. Though ministry is very rewarding, the demands of ministry constantly fight for our time and energy, making it challenging. However, sustainable and fruitful ministry hinges on the health of the minister. You can't effectively pour from an empty cup. Peter Scazzero teaches in The Emotionally Healthy Leader that longevity in ministry isn't just about gifting, but about living whole and healthy lives that reflect Christ. To lead well, we must stay rooted in God and intentional about our health. This is part of the call in Romans 12:1 to offer ourselves as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. We must first care for ourselves before we can serve others faithfully. Spiritual health is the foundation. One of my mentors reminded me we can't measure something eternal against fleeting standards such as visible success. We must be spiritually nourished, emotionally stable, and physically well, or we risk our cups running dry and we'll have nothing left to pour from. This is reinforced by the Pentecostal Pastor by Thomas Trask, Wayde Goodall, and Harold Broke, which warns against becoming professional successes and personal failures. It helped me to see that internal formation sustains external ministry. This understanding that our walk with God is more important than professional success. Our ministry work may be visible to others, but our spiritual work is seen only by God. Ultimately, our internal health, mental, physical, and emotional, will determine our external impact. Remember that ministry is a marathon, not a sprint. We must set the daily pace of our life to run the long race. To do this, one of my mentors spends 30 minutes to an hour each day reading the Bible, praying, and journaling, and this practice keeps him grounded. Ministry cannot flow only from your study for sermons. It needs to come first from study for our own souls. One thing we can do to stay rooted is to have daily Bible reading that is separate from sermon preparation. This time with God is primarily for your own personal growth and benefit. This aligns with Wayde Goodall's insights as a Pentecostal pastor, where he encourages leaders to distinguish their walk with God from their work for God. If we're only studying to teach, we're spiritually malnourished. You can choose to systematically go through the entire Bible or study specific characters or doctrines in the Bible. Choose based on what you need personally in your life. Also, you need a prayer that goes beyond simply petitions. Your prayer should intercede, give thanks, and you should seek to be filled with the Holy Spirit daily. Romans 8:26-28 tells us that the Spirit in our weakness prays what we don't know we need to pray, and He intercedes for us. All we need to do is be willing to open the communication channel. Journaling through your study, singing in worship, and praying in tongues are other practices that can be included in your daily rhythms. We should also strive to live in constant communion with God. This deepens our connection to the Spirit of God, opens our eyes to the spiritual world and God's will, and will transform our ministry. Without these foundations in place, ministry work can begin to feel empty and exhausting. The key to healthy ministry is emotional maturity. Philippians 4:8 reminds us to focus our minds on things that are pure and praiseworthy. We need to guard our thoughts, especially in moments of discouragement. Peter Scazzero in The Emotionally Healthy Leader emphasized emotional self-awareness as a marker of mature leadership. That's why having a trusted, safe relationship for processing is so important. One of my mentors shared the importance of having someone to safe talk to, someone who you trust to open up to about sensitive things. It's best if this person is not your spouse, because if you mention struggles with people, your spouse may naturally hold it against that person long after you've let it go. If possible, try to find someone who is in ministry but is not directly involved in your ministry. This person will be able to understand what you are going through in ministry, but is also separated from people you are ministering to and with, which allows them to present an outside perspective. Remember, nobody is perfect, and we're not seeking perfection, but we should be seeking emotional resilience and Christ-like behaviors. One of my mentors said that he used to view physical rest and exercise as extras, and now he sees them as essential. He treats physical movement as part of his job as a pastor because it helps him stay physically strong and reset mentally. Peter Scazzero also teaches that Sabbath and self-care aren't selfish. They're acts of spiritual surrender and stewardship that reflect our trust in God's sufficiency. After all, we are told in 1 Corinthians 6:19 that our body is a temple and we're commanded to keep that temple healthy. Another important spiritual discipline is the one of Sabbath. As Protestant Christians, we look at to the intention of the Sabbath rather than the timing. God knows that our bodies need rest, and so he builds this special time into his plan for us. My mentor told me to choose a 24-hour period every week and give it priority. During this 24-hour period, you should not do anything ministry or job related. My mentor chooses to start his at dinner time on Friday until dinner time on Saturday. Ministry burnout is a very real problem, and purposeful life rhythms are the best way to avoid it. We must have a balance in our lives. Romans 12:1 tells us to offer our bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. This is our true worship. This means that our spiritual and physical rhythms, emotional care, and relational health all matter. Start with one area, start small, and stay consistent. When we lead from health, we don't just survive ministry, we flourish in it.